Welcome to Developmental Biology. Today, we are going to explore one of the most fascinating phenomena in nature, regeneration. Imagine if humans could regrow a lost limb or perfectly repair a damaged organ. While we cannot do that yet, many animals can. By understanding how they achieve this, we unlock the secrets of biological healing. Let us dive into the three primary modes of regeneration. To begin our journey, let us look at epimorphosis, a process that feels like pure science fiction. Why does this matter? Because if we can understand how a salamander regrows a perfect limb, we might one day replicate this in human medicine to replace lost limbs instead of just forming scar tissue. In epimorphosis, the animal does not just stretch skin over a wound. Instead, mature cells at the amputation site actually lose their specialized identities, a process called dedifferentiation. They revert into raw, stem-like building blocks to form a mass called a blastema, right beneath a protective apical ectodermal cap. These cells then rapidly divide and redifferentiate to rebuild the missing structure from scratch. Now that we understand what a blastema is, let us look at how it grows so quickly. The cells in the blastema divide continuously without spatial limits at first, meaning they grow exponentially. We model this explosive growth using the standard exponential growth equation. In this formula, n of t represents the total number of blastema cells at a given time t. N0 is the initial number of dedifferentiated cells right after amputation. The constant e is the base of the natural logarithm. The variable r is the intrinsic rate of cell division, and t is the time elapsed in days. If the division rate r increases, the blastema grows much faster. If it decreases due to stress, regeneration slows down significantly. Let us put this formula to work with a concrete example. Suppose a salamander loses its tail, and an initial blastema forms with exactly 500 dedifferentiated cells. We are given a continuous growth rate of 0.2 per day, and we want to find the cell population after exactly 10 days. We chose the exponential growth formula because the cells are dividing without restriction. First, we plug in our values. N0 is 500, R is 0.2, and T is 10. Multiplying the rate and time gives us an exponent of 2. Evaluating e squared gives us approximately 7.389. Multiplying this by our initial 500 cells yields our final answer. Physically, this means in just 10 days, a tiny pool of cells has multiplied to nearly 3,700 cells, providing the raw material for a new tail. Having calculated the growth, let us visualize this incredible process. On the screen, you are looking at a schematic diagram of a salamander limb undergoing epimorphic regeneration. On the far left, we see the freshly amputated limb. Notice how the epidermal cells quickly migrate to cover the wound, forming the wound epidermis. Moving to the center, the red area represents the blastema. This is that mass of dedifferentiated, rapidly dividing cells we just calculated. Finally, on the right, you can see these cells proliferating and redifferentiating into brand new bone and muscle tissues, perfectly restoring the original limb structure. This diagram beautifully illustrates how exponential cellular growth translates into physical tissue replacement. While epimorphosis relies on massive cell division, our next mode of regeneration takes a completely different approach. This brings us to morphollaxis. Why is morphollaxis so important? It teaches us about positional information, which is how cells know exactly where they are in a body and what they should become. Imagine remolding a clay snowman into two smaller snowmen without adding any new clay. That is morphollaxis. Seen in simple organisms like the hydra, missing body parts are replaced by remodeling and repatterning existing tissues. There is no blastema and very little new cell division. The organism simply alters the identities of the cells it already has. Because no new cells are added, the newly regenerated organism is perfectly proportioned but smaller than the original parent. To understand how cells in a hydra know whether to become a head or a foot, we must look at the chemical signals guiding them. These signals are called morphogens, and they diffuse through the body to create a concentration gradient. We model this using an exponential decay formula. Here, C of x is the concentration of the morphogen at a specific distance x from the source. C0 is the maximum concentration, right at the source, like the head organizer. The variable x is the physical distance along the body axis. The symbol lambda is the decay length, which tells us how far the signal can travel before dropping significantly. As the distance x increases, the concentration decreases, telling cells they are further from the head. If the decay length lambda increases, the signal travels further, turning a larger portion of the body into head-like structures. Let us see exactly how this chemical gradient determines a cell's fate. Suppose a cut hydra produces a morphogen with an initial concentration of 100 units. The decay length is 2 millimeters. We want to know if a cell located 2 millimeters away will become a tentacle cell, which requires a threshold of at least 36 units. We use the exponential decay formula to find the exact concentration at that distance. We plug in 100 for C0, 2 for x, and 2 for lambda. Dividing the distance by the decay length gives an exponent of -1. Evaluating e to the -1 gives 0.367. Multiplying by 100 gives a final concentration of 36.7 units. Because this is strictly greater than the 36-unit threshold, this specific cell will indeed become a tentacle cell. Now that we have calculated the chemical thresholds, let us look at the physical result in the organism. This diagram illustrates morphollaxis in a hydra. At the top, you see a single hydra being cut in half. Notice how the two halves seal their wounds without growing new tissue. Instead, they repattern their existing cells to form two complete but smaller hydras. Below this, we see the morphogen gradient graph. The vertical axis represents morphogen concentration, and the horizontal axis represents distance from the head. The curve shows the exact exponential decay we just modeled. It visually confirms that as you move further from the head organizer, the chemical signal weakens, establishing the positional information that dictates the entire body plan. We have seen rebuilding from scratch and repatterning existing cells. Now, let us explore a mode of regeneration that happens inside our own bodies: compensatory regeneration. This is incredibly important for human medicine, especially organ transplantation, because it is how the human liver heals itself. In this mode, differentiated cells divide to recover the mass of an injured organ, but they never lose their specialized identities. There is no dedifferentiation and no blastema. If a portion of the liver is removed, the remaining mature liver cells simply start dividing rapidly. The organ grows back to its original size and mass, though not necessarily its original shape. The primary goal here is the rapid restoration of functional tissue mass, so the organ can continue its vital daily functions without interruption. Because the liver cannot grow forever, its regeneration must be carefully controlled. It grows rapidly at first, then slows down as it reaches its healthy size. We describe this capped growth using the logistic growth equation. In this formula, m of t represents the mass of the regenerating organ at time t. The symbol k is the carrying capacity, which is the normal, healthy mass of the fully grown organ. m0 is the initial mass, right after surgery. The variable r is the growth rate of the cells, and t is the time elapsed. As time increases, the exponential term in the denominator shrinks, and the mass smoothly approaches the target mass k. If the growth rate r increases, the organ reaches its full size much faster, ensuring the patient recovers quickly. Let us apply this logistic model to a real-world medical scenario. A patient has a portion of their liver removed. The healthy target mass K is 1,500 grams, but the starting mass, M0, is only 500 grams. With a growth rate of 0.1 per day, we want to predict the liver mass after 20 days of recovery. We use the logistic equation because the liver's growth is capped by its biological limit. First, we calculate the fraction in the denominator. 1,500 minus 500 leaves 1,000 grams to grow. Dividing by the initial 500 gives us 2. The exponent is negative 0.1 times 20, which is negative 2. Evaluating e to the negative 2 gives 0.135. Multiplying by 2 and adding 1 gives a denominator of 1.270. Dividing the target mass by this denominator gives our final answer. Physically, this means the liver has rapidly regained the vast majority of its original mass in less than 3 weeks, ensuring the patient's survival. To fully appreciate this medical marvel, let us look at the physical transformation of the liver. On the screen, you see a diagram tracking compensatory regeneration. On the left is the original, healthy liver at 100% mass. The middle image shows the liver immediately after a partial hepatectomy, where a significant portion has been surgically removed, leaving a reduced mass. Finally, on the right, we see the regenerated liver. Notice that while it has restored its original mass and volume, its anatomical shape is slightly altered. This perfectly illustrates the core principle of compensatory regeneration. Nature prioritizes the rapid recovery of functional tissue mass over perfect anatomical reconstruction, allowing the organ to maintain its critical life-saving functions. We have covered a tremendous amount of ground today, so let us summarize the 3 main modes of regeneration. First, we explored epimorphosis, where mature cells de-differentiate to form a rapidly dividing blastema, rebuilding complex structures from scratch. Second, we examined morphollaxis, a highly efficient process that repatterns existing cells based on chemical morphogen gradients without needing new cell division. Finally, we looked at compensatory regeneration, where fully differentiated cells divide to rapidly restore the functional mass of vital organs like the human liver. By understanding these distinct biological strategies, we gain profound insights into how nature heals and how we might one day harness these powers in regenerative medicine. You have done a fantastic job mastering these complex concepts today.